evening, everybody. Hello. Good to have you. Good to have you here on a Tuesday night. It still feels like Monday. Really no barrier between them. But we are here on what is otherwise a very pleasant day. Warm, sunny. Tomorrow it's going to be a little bit rainy. We've got this hurricane, I hear, that's going to be bouncing along the East Coast. And even though I would not say that anything we do or the arrival of a storm like that is perfect for me, but what was sent to Jim Lee recently just happens to coincide with an incoming hurricane once again. And so as hurricane, I believe it's called Aaron, is kind of making its way toward the East Coast or along the East Coast, we've got a little bit of news to talk to you about that was just published on climateviewer.com. And Jim Lee is coming on in a couple of minutes to fill up the first hour. Hopefully we could take a couple of your calls while he's on. We'll see how that sounds. And in the second half, I've got a couple of things to throw out there, including your super chats. And let me just say right off the bat, tonight, if you send in a super chat to quitefranklysuperchat.com, to YouTube, to Rumble, and to the Gold Pills, you're going to be in the running not only for one of the last two SpaceX patches by Grimbold72, but also an ounce of silver. Another ounce of silver by way of Tony of quitefrankly.gold, Tony Arterburn. So throw something in. $5 or above would be wonderful because we're heading into some pretty tumultuous times over here. It would be wonderful to have your support for a show that you love so much, that there's so much blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. I'd love to give you some silver tonight. I also have some other things to take a look at. That thing over there. I'll tell you about that later on. My cousin Sherry made this incredible jean jacket. It's too small to fit Jay Gulanello, and he's a pretty lean guy. So I think we're looking at this is going to be a nice, for a woman out there, maybe a medium. I'll tell you all about it, but that's something that we're going to give away on air as well. A Quite Frankly jean jacket. Snazzy. Anyway, it's silver tonight, so get in the running. Doesn't take much, and silver is trading around $35 to $40, whatever the hell it is. Never goes away. For thousands of years, it hasn't gone anywhere, so get in on it. All right, let's see. Tonight, I already told you what's happening. In the second half, not only will take your super chats, but I'm going to do a little bit of some joy scrolling with you in the second half. And then for extra innings, we're just going to get together and chill for a little bit, talk a little bit about last night. Man, if you missed out on extra innings last night with Keith, it was really a lot of fun. Just let him rip with the acoustic guitar. Then we listened to some music, especially a solo that we used to obsess over back around 2006, 7, whenever the hell it was. Anyway, more of that talk more of that talk later on. And I can't wait until Keith comes back to New York. We've been talking all day, sending each other clips from all of the videos, the home videos that we could never show you in a million years. In fact, I told him one of the last things we said to each other today was, dude, honestly, it's just the things people would say just because the camera was turned on back then. If it was all connected to the internet, we would be done. Some of us would still be in jail. Some of us would still be in jail. Shocking what I'm hearing, what I've heard people say. Oh my gosh, the hell is happening here? Anyway, that's the way it was. Well, now that is all I got. Oh, but here's a little something up front. I have a couple of news stories for you before Jim Lee comes on. Did you hear about this? MSN, cheese before bed might actually be giving you nightmares. Yes, I learned that from Ebenezer Scrooge. When the first spirit came to him in Christmas Carol, he was wondering, what did I have before? Maybe something I hate. A crumb of cheese, a blob of mustard. So, I mean, it could be just... That could be what it is. Perhaps that's what's going on. Though I don't really eat before bed anymore. But maybe it's the cheese that gives me the the Ferrari brain that doesn't calm down some nights. Just incredible. Just incredible. You know, I'm not saying that I'm getting close to Michael Jackson level propofol to go to sleep, but I could have used some last night. Then again, I did everything wrong last night. Everything. And I thought I was rewarding myself. So that's the way that went. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was hanging out with President Trump today, talking a little bit about what has changed since the Putin and Trump summit in Alaska a few days ago. I thought this was interesting.
Thank you very much, Donald, Mr. President, for hosting us today in this important meeting. And I think it is an important day, a new phase, after 3 years and a half that we didn't see any kind of sign from the Russian side that there was a willing for dialogue. So something is changing, something has changed, thanks to you. Thanks also to the stalling in the battlefield, which was achieved with the bravery of Ukrainians and with the unity that we all provided to Ukraine. And the reason why I mention it is that we also have to remind that if we want to reach peace and if we want to guarantee justice, we have to do it united. So that's
yes. Well, you're not going to don't expect to give back any land, though. I mean, it's just very simple, very simple. But what had changed? I don't know. It was nice. It was interesting to watch the whole Putin thing. The B-2 flyover that was pretty cool. I liked it. You know, I liked it. It's all for show. Nice. What do you want to say? He said, hey, look at this badass plane. Look at this badass plane of ours. Perfectly timed. But Putin is always interesting to listen to when he makes speeches. I usually like listening to what he's got to say and all that stuff. And I listen, and on Saturday night, I listened to not only all of him, but then, or the afternoon, then I listened to about a minute or so of President Trump until I realized that there was really going to be no meeting details shared. But it was clear to me that there is a deal and that they just need to get rid of Zelensky somehow. That's what's clear to me. So watch out for blown bridges in Crimea or something like that. Or, of course, the new ghost, the new Ukrainian, the ghost of Kiev is back. Only now he's not a fighter pilot. He's a sniper who has now claimed the world's longest ever kill, taking out 2 Russian soldiers with one shot 2.5 miles away. And of course, the next ghost of Kiev is going to outdo that by at least 10 miles from on top of a fucking mountain. So you do with that what you will. Oh man, I don't know. If anything derails this, then the only other response from Trump's White House should be cutting off Ukraine and NATO completely. No weapons, no money, no satellites, no intelligence, no training, nothing. Go ahead, get yourself incinerated, Baba Vanga style, and that'll be it. Now, I'm trying to get Ryan Gable on the show very soon. I don't know when though, because there's just everything is clogged up. It's great. We have a great guest schedule, but this is something I'd love to get him on for. The scientists baffled as mysterious interstellar object produces its own light and defies the comet theory. So this is an update on the Avi Loeb. The Avi Loeb disclosures and all that stuff, and saying that this is going to be some kind of non-human intelligence that's going to be showing up around November, and it could be an invasion force that was preceded by Oumuamua in 2017 or whatever the hell else it was. But it is 3I Atlas. That's what they're calling it, that it's producing its own light. The supposed comet could be much smaller than 12 miles. So it's a 12-mile long thing. I don't know what the hell it means. But what I really, really am interested in is Ryan Gable's look into the whole thing. Because what he's come up with, and I don't know if he's already brought this to Ground Zero or his own show, probably has. But what he says, I play the names of the 3 objects Oumuamua, Borisov, and Atlas, which together translate to the first messenger arriving with strength to bring change. Avi Loeb and Clyde were talking about Atlas as a harbinger of the Messiah. As comets are always linked to drastic changes in kingdoms falling or disease, strangely, there is an odd connection with all of that and the White House science director whose name is Kratsios, from the Greek Kratos, or Kratos, god of strength and enforcer of Zeus. So I love all of these mythological synchronicities that Ryan Gable pulls together. It's educational, it's spooky, and I got to get him on soon to talk about this, or else it'll just be these little updates along the way to see if we get any kind of interstellar visitors show up in November to kill us. Are we going to get killed? Are we going to get dead? We'll see. Tune in this November to see if we're all dead. How's that sound to you? Sounds like a hell of a time. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? Jim Lee is showing up at some point in the next few minutes. Don't go anywhere. And remember, Super Chats from QuiteFranklySuperChat.com, YouTube, Rumble. You're going to get not only this SpaceX patch, now there's only 2 left, but also a nice, beautiful medallion of silver. Don't you want it? Got to be in it to win it, folks. Be right back.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm.
Yes, there's another one coming.
Into this house we're born.
August 19th, 2025. Are you logging the days? I'm logging the days over here, my friends. I'm logging the days, all right. I am super stressed. But pressure makes diamonds, as they say. So let's, or maybe it just makes coal. Flat coal. Does pressure make diamonds, or does it make coal pancakes? Well, we'll figure that out sooner than later. All right, the first thing up, again, like I said, we've got Hurricane Erin. This is by way of NPR. Storm set to bring large waves and flooding to the U.S. Hurricane Erin is moving closer to the eastern seaboard, bringing dangerous rip currents and flood risks that have prompted evacuation orders and states of emergency in 2 North Carolina counties. Hurricane Erin was 615 miles southeast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The National Hurricane Center said on Tuesday it was moving north by northwest at 10 miles an hour, packing maximum sustained winds of 105 miles an hour. That's a big drop from Monday's figure of 140 miles an hour. But the large storm is expected to regain some strength and get even larger. Erin isn't expected to make landfall in the U.S., but forecasters say it will push large waves of 15 to 20 feet or higher into the shoreline along with the storm surge. So that's kind of percolating out there. Not going to make landfall, but is it still going to have some coastal impact? That's what they're saying. But that's what brings us to what we have over here right now. And I'm going to bring on our friend Jim Lee, like Gimli from Lord of the Rings, but Jim Lee. And I'm going to see what he has to say about that, but all this. But listen up. I got a text message from Jim a couple days ago. Says you got to look at this. DoD linked AI startup to control hurricanes. Aeolus, not Areola. Aeolus Labs aims to stop, this is a quote, stop catastrophic landfalling hurricane Category 5 hurricanes within 4 years. They want to be able to stop Cat 5 hurricanes from touching land in 4 years. Jim says, I received a tip back in March from a very credible weather modification insider that Mason Lee, the co-founder of Aeolus, I'm going to say it, Aeolus Labs, an artificial intelligence-based startup company, claimed that he had Department of Defense contract to modify hurricanes. I have spent the past 5 months tracking down everything I can find out about this company, and I think the evidence will speak for itself. The article and video above will prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that anyone who claims that, quote, nobody is trying to alter hurricanes, end quote, is dead wrong. Despite the long history of hurricane modification, there are those who maintain that nobody would dare mess with a hurricane. And we've, if we're going to go through this evidence, then why not do it with the man, the myth himself, Jim Lee, climateviewer.com. Jim, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Want to fight about
Yes.
it? I'm just slightly taller than Gimli.
Yes, just that's it. But do you swing an axe? Can you swing an axe well?
I've got the katana right here.
Good.
And if that doesn't work, we'll go with the shotgun.
It's just one of those. Man, that would have been a much different trek through Middle Earth. They had the shotgun with them.
Damn right. Just throw in the holy hand grenade, and we got a hell of a show.
So, okay, I've got a lot of back to the beginnings questions for you, because it had to be one of the first 3 or 4 conversations we had was about hurricane manipulation, about the whole idea about what would be different about, or what is the implication of technology being out there that could really impact the health of a hurricane, either build it up or break it down or kick it away or something. What would the implication of that be, knowing how over the last 20 years or so we have seen catastrophic damage allowed at that point to hit the U.S., but we'll get all to that. Talk about this evidence here from Aeolus Labs, how AI, all this stuff is going to come together and be able to do something as incredible as prevent a Category 5 from making landfall. That's the biggest you can do. Biggest, tallest order.
Yeah, I mean, it's like saying I'm gonna freaking ridge hand chop through a redwood tree. You might want to start with a smaller tree. No, fuck it. I'm going with the redwood. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane. Just the claim itself, the fact that they're making the claim in public is insane enough for me, because it probably tells a bigger story about where we are in the world today with these, Silicon Valley AI pushing, I don't know, these technocrats that think that somehow, because artificial intelligence is so good, now we're going to be able to pull this off. And I think that the hubris of anybody who thinks that they're actually going to be able to control a hurricane, they're obviously being paid well. That's all I got to say. I hope they got good lawyers and they never admit that they're doing it before they do, because there's going to be hell to pay one way or another. Either they're going to be on the front page getting the Nobel Peace Prize for stopping a freaking Category 5, stopping the next Katrina, or we're going to get nailed and they're going to swear we had nothing to do with it.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, because it was only mere weeks ago at this point when what happened with Kerrville. And
Yep.
and you interviewed one of the guys that was doing some cloud seeding less than a week before. And was he responsible? Did he contribute in any iota to the strength of that storm and in the lives that were lost? It doesn't even matter at that point, because of the implication. When you start talking about going on the record about, we're going to the hurricane rodeo now. I mean, what do you open yourself up for?
It's the same thing that I talked about with Augusto Storico, the founder of Rainmaker. When he was blamed, everybody was blaming him for the floods in Texas. And I immediately got on the phone and I'm like, bro, your version, I saw your tweet and your version of events are trust me, bro. Like that's all you got is trust me, bro. Do you want to talk about it? And I got the first interview with him, literally July 5th at 10 p.m. Because yeah, it's a bad look. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, everybody that I've ever talked to, they hate the idea of people modifying the weather. Why? Because if I buy a brand new, insert car company, if I buy a brand new model of that car was engineered. And what do we know about engineering? Humans constantly build things that break. Now let's talk about climate engineering. Let's talk about geoengineering, weather engineering. You break, you buy is an age-old saying. And if you're going to go up there and you attempt to modify something, then it goes off and hurts a bunch of people. What do you think? People are going to expect the worst. They're going to blame you for everything. And when you start talking about things like hurricanes, you got to be out of your freaking mind to do that. I mean, no insurance company on the planet would back your, company if you were publicly admitting, "Hey, we're getting ready to screw with this hurricane. Good luck."
Yeah.
It's got to be. I can't believe the brass balls on these guys. Interestingly enough, like while I was live doing the video Sunday night, I got a message back from Mason Lee, the chief technology officer from Aeolus Labs, and they're considering an interview. I highly doubt they will do one. But he did say we're highly committed to transparency, and I'm like, cool. Let's see how that works out for you. My wife and I had a pretty vigorous debate about this, and there's a lot of moral implications on this. Like, if you can stop a hurricane from making landfall that would otherwise kill a bunch of people, definitely is going to destroy a lot of property, should you? Which is why I, all through the article I wrote on climateviewer.news, that's my Substack, you see repeatedly I'm using that meme from Jurassic Park. You were so preoccupied with whether you could, you never stopped to ask whether you should. Weather is a chaotic system. It's not, in the scope of control theory. It's chaos theory. So to think that you can somehow bottle chaos and control it, that you got everything figured out, and we know damn well we don't. I can look at my weather app on my phone at any given time. And I mean, literally, Friday was a perfect example. I'm getting ready. I'm got my shorts on. I'm headed out because I'm going to go cut the grass. Says it's going to rain at 9 o'clock. It's like, 3 o'clock ish. And I'm going, what the fuck? There's a storm front coming in right now. And then I look back at my phone and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's storms for the next 2 hours. That was literally like within a 30-minute period, it went from saying it was going to rain at 9 o'clock to, oh yeah, by the way, that's happening right now. So if that's the state of the art, that we have in weather forecasting, how could they possibly predict what's going to happen once you start dumping chemicals randomly all in a hurricane in the name of homeland security?
Okay, let me
really brings us back to what started this modern push for hurricane control. And it really starts with the Obama administration, their Department of Homeland Security. In 2008, they had a hurricane modification workshop in Boulder, Colorado. And one of the attendees at that workshop was Dr. Daniel Rosenfeld. I actually interviewed Dr. Daniel Rosenfeld in person at the 21st Conference on Planet Inadvertent Weather Modification in 2018. And that's that Danny Rosenfeld right there. And interestingly enough, his proposals were, he has a patent for, a way to modify hurricanes. He shows up at the DHS Hurricane Modification Workshop, and now he's one of the 3 co-founders of Aeolus Labs. It's Dr. Daniel Rosenfeld, Koki Mashita, who is a Peter Thiel fellow, which everybody always loves hearing about those guys, doesn't scream Palantir at all to me of the weather at all. And then there's this defense innovation unit aspect to it, where the tip I got said their DoD, that basically Mason Lee was bragging that he had a DoD contract to steer hurricanes. So let's rewind the tape. We go from the Obama administration. Now we're talking about the Biden administration. Their company was founded December 6, 2024, right at the tail end when the auto pen was still running the, government. Yep, that time. So they founded a company in December and magically got a DoD contract. So I wonder, hey, Pete Hegseth, do you know that your DoD is possibly like funding steering hurricanes? You might want to get on that, because if you've got your feces consolidated, then you would know about this contract. And if this contract exists, you might want to tell the public and or cancel it. That might be in your best interest. Just a thought. But then again, if you think back to Trump in his first term, he was berated. You could Google this real quick while I'm running my mouth. Trump's says China has a hurricane gun. And there were other, titles like Trump wants to nuke hurricanes, like drop a nuclear bomb, which honestly, that was actually an idea for a long time. But yeah, there it is. Trump kept asking if China was shooting us with a hurricane gun. So yeah, he's fucking crazy, right? He's fucking crazy for even asking that question. But literally, we have companies today that are, getting DoD contracts to, use AI for weather forecasting and for weather modification. So when you put all this into context, you go, what's the Defense Department's involvement in this? Why do they care? I think the answer is obvious. Those who control the weather, he who controls the weather will control the world. Lyndon Johnson. And this is another debate that my wife and I have had. If China can steer hurricanes, would you want America to be better at it than China?
I mean, I guess that's the mentality for everything from AI and anything else that people wish that we weren't even talking about at all. The default thinking is, well, if we have to live with this technology being out there, it might as well be us who are the best at it. Even though when we say us, we're talking about a government we don't trust and not, the most noble of our citizens. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really there are a lot of people who just think superficially about this stuff. I've been doing this long enough now where I can take a back seat, kind of look at it from, the 70,000 foot view and go, well, if I were the DoD and, I like big bombs and I cannot lie, then what's the biggest bomb of all? And oh, by the way, it doesn't have USA tattooed on the side of it. Freaking hurricanes, man. Mm-hmm. So weather is, the ultimate weapon of, with no receipts behind it.
Okay, let me ask you some questions about this in particular then, because now we have Aeolus, we have this Rosenfeld guy, we have it all kind of just right there in front of us. So the real question is, with the technology, from what you've been able to ascertain over the last few months since this tip came in, what method, when you're talking about, what they're talking about here is saving people from the wrath of a hurricane. Of course, there is the flip side of that is that, oh, listen, if you can dismantle a Category 5, then you most certainly can build it up. And we know that has been possible for a while, which is why we'll get back to like Generation 1 conversations you and I have had at some point tonight. But What methods have you found out that they are looking to employ? Is it old-fashioned aerosols? Is it Michio Kaku's lasers? What is it?
It's always chemicals, dude. It's always chemicals. At the end of the day, they've got if you look at their LinkedIn profile, you can tell a lot just by social media mining. I've been sitting on this story since March, and of the stuff that I actually wrote in the article and what I released in the video, that's probably be about 20% of the information I have on these people. And I think you know where I'm going with that. Um, but when you look at their backgrounds, you look at, the people who are currently employed with the company, you look at all of the peer-reviewed science, journal entries that Daniel Rosenfeld's put out over the years. He's got a fascination with a couple things. Large, micron size and submicron size cloud seeding aerosols, marine cloud brightening boats, and screwing with hurricanes. So when you put the three together, Dr. Stephen Salter and John Latham invented what was called the Silver Lining Project. This was a marine cloud brightening boat. It's basically an idea of taking sea salt and spraying it into clouds to make them whiter, brighter. But when the 2008 DHS Hurricane Workshop came along, they repurposed it and said, hey, what if we used our marine cloud brightening boats to shoot a whole bunch of salt crystals into the hurricane so that we overseed the hurricane to basically suck a lot of the moisture back out of it. Go ahead and get it to rain a lot of that moisture out. This is called overseeding. So I think that the commonality that I see between, Dr. Rosenfeld's work and the previous attempts and ideas that have always been floated about hurricanes, they really revolve around two things: possibly steering it one direction or another, which usually involves like dumping chemicals in like a certain portion of the hurricane. William Gray proposed in 1974 using carbon black dust to dump large piles of this into the cold pools of a hurricane. The sun would heat the black carbon, or the carbon black. Carbon black is manufactured. Black carbon is soot. That's like when you burn stuff. Mm-hmm. So carbon black's like what's in your laser jet toner, toner cartridge. It's also what makes tires black. They use it in manufacturing, all kinds of stuff. They even make batteries out of your driveway now with that. In case you didn't know that, they're mixing it with concrete because it has these electrical properties to it that are pretty specific. And the Department of Defense, if they're going to do weather warfare, I have 2 FOIAs and then several presentations recently that all say the same thing: weather modification using carbon black dust. So from a DoD perspective, carbon black dust or carbon black aerosols are their weapon of choice. Let's see, where'd I put it? And Danny Rosenfeld's patent, I believe you mentioned something like ammonia. I got over 70,000 freaking, there it is. I got like 70,000 bookmarks now, and it's really getting retarded. Submicron ammonium sulfate particles. This is world patent number 2008-07-2227A1. That's in. Go to my Substack and look at it.
Okay, but can you start talking a little bit more specifically about how these things, as opposed to the silver iodide, where you've talked about the certain atmospheric conditions, there's something for these particles to latch onto to make the clouds, to build up the storms and all that. So we kind of get that understanding. I remember with this guy back in the many years before you and I ever started, hanging out on air and stuff like that. The first time I ever heard anybody talk about weaponized warfare or weaponized weather was Ben Livingston. He was interviewed by Howard Stern. He was interviewed by Alex Jones on InfoWars back on the early 2000s. And I was listening to him. Essentially, he was talking about the silver iodide. He was showing pictures from his photo albums and all that stuff. And when he was talking about the dismantling of a storm, he used some kind of terminology about how you just simply cut the top off a cloud. I don't know what the hell that means. So give us the inverse of building it up. What chemical breaks it down, and how does that happen?
So a lot of this depends on where you where and how much of a chemical you put into it. So like with cloud seeding, if they want to make rain for like a farmer or like a water irrigation district, they're going to add just enough particles to make it rain. But in order to like destroy a cloud, you could literally shut off the rain altogether. You could induce a drought, as the CIA did during the Cuban weather warfare. A spinoff of what Ben Livingston was doing. He was part of Operation Popeye. That's the weather warfare over Laos and Vietnam, where they were dumping silver iodide and lead iodide, a little bit of dry ice, to basically enhance the monsoon season. Ben Livingston then went on to be part of Project Storm Fury. This is like in the 60s through almost the 80s. And this was a program run by NOAA, but a sub program of NOAA's Project Storm Fury was CIA driven, and their goal was to steer hurricanes into Cuba. So in this case, if they were trying to, destroy a hurricane, dry ice is one of the chemicals that they would use. It's just CO2, that does cloud clearing. So if they want to bore a hole in like a cloud deck so that they can shoot their laser beams at their satellites, dry ice is really effective at that sort of thing. And it's all about the ratio. So if you got three things you need for clouds to occur, for rainfall to occur, and that's a cloud seed, water vapor, and ionization. So the first two stick together. If there's too much water and not enough seeds, then that's when they're gonna get on the seeds. They're gonna get too heavy. They're gonna fall. But if there's too many seeds and not enough water vapor, they never can get big enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see that.
Because there's so many seeds in there that they never condense and get heavy enough to fall. That's how, the CIA was able to do what they called a rain embargo. They were actually stopping rainfall from happening in Cuba. The other one's kind of like Chernobyl, where the Chernobyl meltdown occurred. That radioactive cloud was headed towards Moscow. And they wanted to make sure that the radiation from Chernobyl, which is in Ukraine, for those who aren't familiar with this, it's near Kiev, it was headed northeast towards Moscow. So the Russians, the Soviets, sent out fighter pilots to cloud seed as fast as possible. God forbid those guys are all probably dead, because they were flying through radioactive clouds, dumping a bunch of cloud seeding material. So if you can go to Wikipedia and look at the radiation for what the ground looks like today, the radiation levels. And what you're going to see is a huge radioactive area around Chernobyl and then another one in Belarus. And the reason why is because they went there to make sure that rain fell in Belarus. They wanted to squeeze all the rain out of the clouds before they got to Moscow, so that by the time they got to Moscow, those clouds were overseeded. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they're drying out the clouds. They're getting as much of the water out as possible, putting way more cloud condensation nuclei in their cloud seeds, so that by the time it reached Moscow, dry as a bone. And that happened. So, and the last example I give is 2008 at the Beijing Olympics. The Chinese were they bragged to the world that they were going to be able to stop rain from hitting their open air bird's nest coliseum. And they were going to do all kinds of things, from shooting rockets filled with silver iodide to dumping liquid nitrogen, anything and everything. But when you go to YouTube, if you just type in YouTube Beijing Olympics rain, you'll see dudes, sitting in there huddled underneath their umbrella like, this fucking sucks, and I paid all this money. Anyway, so it's hit or miss. I mean, at the end of the day, we're just talking about rain in these two examples, with Chernobyl and with the Olympics. So how is this going to work, with a hurricane?
Yeah, take Katrina
coin, bro.
Take Katrina, for example, because that's one of the first things you and I spoke about years ago was what was verifiably known about hurricane modification up to that point, both strengthening and weakening in particular. And then, of course, that always leads us to that next question. Like when, when you talk about this technology, the implications are that when you apply these things to something like Hurricane Katrina, where death and destruction is one thing, but even the common man would ask at that point that when this is made public, we start wondering, so could that horrible thing that happened a couple of years ago have been prevented? Was it allowed to hit to keep technology hidden? Was the storm built with the technology, and was it a deliberate attack? That's where we start getting into it. All becomes, it's like, I don't know. It's
the chicken before the egg.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is, because once you understand how to intensify a hurricane, once you understand how to tame a hurricane, let's just use the terms that they want to. We want to tame a hurricane within the next 4 years. Well, if you understand how to do that, then you certainly need to understand how to do the opposite. So, during that DHS, the purpose of that Department of Homeland Security Hurricane Modification Workshop in 2008, details on weathermodificationhistory.com if anybody wants to read about it. All the receipts are there. It actually happened. Photo of Danny Rosenfeld there. The purpose of it was that the Department of Homeland Security decided that hurricanes were a national security concern and that we needed to defend the homeland from hurricanes. Okay, so that's the premise. That's the the claim that they made. We're going to stop these because we want to save lives. We want to save all the taxpayers' money and civilian infrastructure, all that. Fine. Well, what did they do with that? Well, they went to NOAA and they asked NOAA, hey, you want to get in on this, man? I heard you guys have done it before. And basically the director of NOAA said, how about hell no? And in the note, he literally cites, and I have a copy of the letter. He cites the failures of Project Storm Fury. And it's like, we tried for 20 years. We sucked at it. The first time anybody ever tried to steer a tropical storm was literally 11 months after cloud seeding was invented. It was invented in November of 1946. And in October of 1947, they went out and they seeded, this is Benson Schaefer, Irving Langmuir, Bernard Vonnegut, GE Labs, and the U.S. Army Air Corps. They went out and they seeded a tropical storm. That son of a bitch went from a tropical storm. It changed colors, became dark and angry, changed direction. It was headed out to sea. It did a loopy-de-loo and ran into Savannah, Georgia. That is 11 months after cloud seeding was invented. In 1947, it was part of what was called Project Cirrus, Cirrus. So during Project Cirrus, this happened, and immediately they were telling Irving Langmuir, could you please shut the fuck up about us messing with hurricanes? They wanted to keep it a secret. But, of course, the cat got out of the bag, and people know about this today. And it's not even disputed that it happened. So if they had this is what I want to make the distinction. Did they control that hurricane? The answer is obviously no. Did they intervene in the hurricane and the thing went on a batshit crazy trajectory and slammed into America? That's what happened. So where is the line between control and just adding pixie dust to freaking chaos?
That's what I was going to. That's
exactly where we're at.
Yeah, that was my next line of questioning would be on that, because it sounds like we're talking about the ability to diffuse something or to build it up as sometimes out of nowhere, or to strengthen something that's already naturally forming. But as far as that whole I was going to ask you if the concept of steering has ever really been effectively tackled, because Jim, I mean that is just something that you have. Some of your biggest fights on the public fights on the internet have come at the hands of that topic in particular: steering, NEXRAD radar, all that stuff. Like, how do you move a storm where you want it to go? But I have to imagine that the ability to steer is secondary to the ability to dissipate a storm altogether. But the conversation about steering is really tied to the motivation, I think, of using weather to target something for destruction. Because I think
a lot of people just overcomplicate this shit. They seem to think that some dude is sitting in, like DoD Central. He's got a joystick and it's like a freaking drone. And they're like, no, add a little here. Now add a little here. Okay, it's on the right track. Just let it rip. There's a lot of people who think that, NEXRAD, HARP, these things can steer a hurricane like it's freaking, on a, like you're flying a UAV. And to all of them, I say, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I could be a millionaire tomorrow if I just went out and like every single time there was a hurricane, I just went on, Alex Jones, and I was like, yeah, and I know, Alex, I know what you're talking about, brother. I seen it with my own eyes. The fucking Illuminati had their gay frogs flying a C-130. They were dumping these special nanoparticles that are, they're controlled from the secret hub of the DoD deep underneath the Pentagon with the lizard people. And they wanted to get to the lithium mines. This is the kind of shit that people say all the time.
You telling me I can be a millionaire if I say that tomorrow? Because I will.
Bro, go have at it. Just the thing is, there's no drought of stupid on the internet, and people fucking eat it up. So if it's fear porn, they're gonna eat it up. What's worse than the military industrial complex? The fear porn industrial complex on the internet, because there is a freaking army of capitalists and narcissists that thrive off of chemtrails, HARP, freaking NEXRAD, and all this stuff. At the end of the day, isn't it much simpler to go, hey, this hurricane's already on this path. We might be able to gently nudge it, maybe a couple degrees left or right, if we're gentle and we don't screw this totally up. And by the way, something like Hurricane Sandy, we already know it's going to hit New York and it's going to stall out. Why don't we just cloud seed the hell out of it, and then we're going to flood the shit out of New York? That seems much more plausible to me.
But when you say nudge it, give me an example of how you would nudge.
Even with the nudging it,
because that's steering.
Everything, even back to 1974, even back to 1947, every single example along the way, they will always tell you, that it's chemical. Like every single one is chemical. And the reason why is because when you look at Irving Langmuir, one of the inventors of cloud seeding, he said this, that basically in the amount of energy liberated, the effect of 30 milligrams of silver iodide under optimum conditions equals that of one atomic bomb.
30 milligrams.
30 milligrams. Now, what he's talking about is heat exchange. So when that silver iodide hits water, and then you have what's called convection, you have rapid lifting of that chemical. That as it heats, as things get heated, they loft. That's called convection. So by dumping a bunch of silver iodide into the base of a hurricane, you could cause rapid convection, which would cause a lot of latent heat to be released into it. If you're talking about doing it with NEXRADs, you have to consider how much power a hurricane has. So you're talking about anywhere from it's somewhere around 100 quadrillion joules per second. This is kind of hard to put into perspective. A quadrillion is 1,000,000 times a billion. What is a joule per second? That's watts. So now let's make it simple. That's 100 with 15 zeros behind it, watts of energy per second. That's equal to 200 atomic bombs per second. Now, do you think that you can use a 750 to 1,000,000 watt NEXRAD Doppler radar with a duty cycle of 0.02002? That equals about 1,400 watts or 98 watts per meter squared. The fucking sun is 1,000 watts per meter squared at the surface. So for all of the, tech bros in the fear porn industrial complex, they're playing on people, because they don't understand, radio frequency, power density, any of these factors, especially as it pertains to a big ass hurricane, and like how much actual power is there. So the idea of doing it with any kind of electromagnetics, the only type of electric weather modification that has ever occurred are three things: cloud ionization, releasing negatively charged ions to cloud seed. Laser beams, obviously, because it provides ionization. It's ionizing radiation. For those that don't know what ionizing radiation is, look it up. It ain't fucking NextRad. It ain't, your local DTV, and it ain't even Starlink. So, the wavelength determines whether it's ionizing radiation, like X-rays. Okay, keep it simple. The only other electric weather modification I have ever seen anybody ever publish on or claim to be able to do is, back in, I'm going to say 2017, a guy from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, his name is George Bomar. He went to Texas and got a permit with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation to use electrified water to make it rain. So they actually use what's called a electro spray. This is a similar to what they use for spraying pesticides on crops. Like your crop duster has an electro sprayer. So that's it. You got cloud ionizers, laser beams, and electro spray. Other than that, nobody has ever claimed to be able to modify even the smallest cloud with an electromagnetic beam, aside from the three things that I said. So everything is chemical.
So it's more like a when you say everything is chemical, and if you're going to be successful in nudging a storm in one direction or the other at all, it's by setting up what I would have to say would be some sort of a trail of chemical breadcrumbs, where the storm would gravitate to or get pulled towards some sort of a fuel source or some sort of an accelerant. It would actually something like that.
So,
and by the way, hold on one second, Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, we only have a few more minutes with Jim right now, so I'm opening up the hotline. If you want to call in and ask him a question or anything like that, I want to try that, because if it doesn't go well, at least I won't be embarrassed if Jim's on. So give me a call. I won't be embarrassed if the technology fails on me, but I just wanted to try this. So call 914-359-4853. Go ahead, Jim.
See, so of course you want to have the tech fail while you got your technical advisor for your computer on the fucking show. Good job, man. Appreciate you.
I have to test it somewhere. I know that you won't. Go ahead.
We could do this in the dark, or we could do this in the road,
right?
But of course you want to do it live, so let's just let it go. But yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, when you take this all into perspective, you go, AI is now the justification going, well, we can do it better. Why? Because, we can take all this information, we can feed it into AI, and it'll teach us where we're wrong. We'll figure it out.
Okay, so I guess that's a great point there, because we didn't touch about the AI aspect of how this was going to help Aeolus create this system. Is AI doing all the chemical analysis and giving the prescriptions for what needs to happen?
So this is fluid dynamics. This is very complicated systems. They're basically saying, well, if we go in and we get a whole bunch of information on this hurricane and we feed it into this, AI, that we'll be able to say, all right, if we dump this amount of chemicals, what's going to happen? If we do this, then, if this, then that. That's how computers work. So this is just it's just like with the geoengineering model intercomparison project. It's called GeoMIP. There are these psychopaths, scientists out there right now going, if we geoengineer the planet, if we block sunlight, what will happen? And then they feed it into a computer model, and then they write their paper and they go, it's not going to be that bad. Only a couple, last time we ran the machine, it said we'll kill like 10 million people, all in the southern hemisphere, not the northern hemisphere. It's going to be wet in the northern hemisphere, but droughts in the southern hemisphere. Fuck it. That sounds like a pretty good deal. So they actually came up with a term, deaths per watts per meter squared, for these computer models for geoengineering. Be the same situation here. And I would be remiss if I didn't throw him under the bus. Um, Koki Mashita, the CEO of the company, he interned briefly at another AI startup called Atmo Inc. ATMO Inc. It's Atmo.ai. And their company does the same damn thing. They use artificial intelligence. Uh, uh, their customers are governments, militaries, and companies, and they're suing Aeolus, particularly Koki Mashita, because he interned with them for a brief while, and they say that basically he stole some of their source code to make his new startup. So you got two different AI companies that are in the business of weather modification and increased, situational awareness for weather prediction and forecasting for the military. So it's only going to grow exponentially. The more of these tech bros that can get in on this and I mean, think about it. What would you rather have? Some dude like Shark Tank who's invested in your company and wants to see you make some money, or a big ass grant from the Department of Defense that's like, here, go do what you can. And if you actually end up figuring out how to steer a hurricane, you're going to let us know all of that. And that's exactly what the Defense Innovation Unit, or what they call Unit X, was designed to do, was to make a DoD center in Silicon Valley to hand out money to these startups and say, help us get better at the things we do. So this is, a even trade.
Well,
you're going to be able to go out and screw with the weather, and you're going to teach us how to be better at doing it ourselves, and we'll weaponize anything that you teach us how to do. Here's your money.
Well, that's everybody's money, I guess. Okay, so here's I have a couple of questions that came in. I did something silly, Jim, and I did not lift the call, like, do not disturb sign. So I was wondering why there was no calls coming in. And now I just lifted it, and I just see a voicemail waiting for me. So let's see how this works out. Hold on. See if this works.
Hi, Jim Lee. John Otter here. Groups like the Electric Universe and Suspicious Observers talk about the global electric circuit and the inflows and outflows surrounding weather systems like high pressure and low pressure cells. Would there be a way, not just through ionization, but possibly any other way, to connect more directly some of these upper layer connections from a hurricane to its telluric ground somewhere? All right, talk to you later. Bye.
That's John Otter right there. What is that last part from to the toric ground? What is that?
Telluric.
Okay.
That's TELLURIC. So yeah, this has always been a long time fascination of mine as well, that there is probably, and I swear, like, this is just a gut thing. I've always been a longtime fan of the Electric Universe community. I was in a Microwave Planet with Christopher Fontenot. He's a member of Electroverse. I personally believe that there's something that we're not really looking at as to what, sustains a hurricane, what drives it from its center. Obviously, there's the centrifugal nature of it. But is there something celestial involved as well? And when he's talking about the global current, what am I blacking out?
No, dude, no. All of a sudden, what we were trying to fix with the throbbing.
Oh God, no!
I had out of nowhere. I got
the TV of death just happened again.
The TV's off. I haven't had that happen to me in 2 months, Jim.
Pure evil.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
But anyway, so to just keep it simple, stupid.
Keep
on
it
this.
simple.
The most likely scenario for using electromagnetic radiation to modify a hurricane, if I'm being realistic, is the sun gun. This is the Nazi idea of creating a sun gun. This actually goes back to 1929.
Hey, Jim, Willie.
Sorry.
No problem. That back in 1929, I believe it was Herman Oberth, he proposed this idea called the burning glass. The idea of putting a magnifying glass in space that could be used to melt the Arctic. Well, that's kind of crazy, but the Nazis actually tried to build this. Then with the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, HARP, which modifies space weather, which is what he was talking about just now, modifying the polar electric jet. This is a electric circle in the sky. They were able to create what was called an artificial ionospheric mirror. Now I'm going to flip forward to 2018. BAE Systems created something called a laser developed atmospheric lens. The idea was to paint a plasma particle pattern, PPP. You create this you can look it up. BAE Systems laser developed atmospheric lens. I can pull it up real quick if you want to see it.
Real quick, because I have one more question for you before we leave.
Yeah, that basically it'll take me too long. That they were going to put a drone in space with a camera on it, but then create a pattern in the ionosphere to make a lens which they could then look through, which would amplify their ability to see the ground. So they'd be able to count my nose hairs in my front yard by looking through this atmospheric lens. Well, what's so scary about that, you might ask? If you can create a lens, then you have created the Nazi sun gun, then you've created the burning glass, Herman Oberth said. And I was talking about how much energy was involved in this. 1,000 watts per meter squared at the ground from sunlight. Way more than that at the top of the atmosphere. If you could focus all the energy of the sun on a portion of a hurricane, now that might do it. And that is an electrical magnifying glass made from our planet's shield. So these are the kind of out there ideas that are possible, have been floated around for a very long time, and definitely creep me out.
Sorry, I got another voicemail for you. This is the last one. I think it's a little bit more. Thank you for that question, Jim. Always very very educational, of course. And I'm going to have to listen to all this myself another once or twice because I like it. That's the only way it sinks in. But it's starting to make more and more sense as we talk over the years. This is from John in Connecticut, and I think it's a more obvious question, and I'm curious to hear your answer.
Hey Jim, Willie. If they're telling us that they're going to do it, don't you think they might already been doing it? That's what I'm trying to think. All right.
There you go. I think that's what most people out there who don't do as much research and publishing as you do would say, well, does the old rule apply with this as everything else? That if they're saying that this is we're going to be able to BTFO a Category 5, we're going to be able to BTFO a Category 5 in 4 years, then wouldn't that make you think that a Category 1 would be like shoe fly right now? I mean, at least.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's always projection involved. You know what I mean? We're going to do this sometimes in the future. We've actually been doing this for fucking 20 years now, but it's going to be kind of obvious in the next 4 or 5. So we might want to tell everybody about it. Yeah, I mean, that's typically the way the government works. They call it forward governance. That let's go ahead and just say, hey, we might be doing this in the future, but we were already doing this. Think of any example. What's interesting? I'm just going completely tangential, but just recently on X, it blew up really big that I was on your show telling everybody how Obama, actually was behind all of the Crossfire Hurricane and how the Five Eyes signals intelligence. You remember that episode?
Oh, that was the episode we did the Stone Ghost stuff?
Yeah, when we were talking about the Stone Ghost stuff.
That was cool.
And then whenever it dropped, from the ODNI, when she Tulsi Gabbard, when she came out with the proof that basically I was fucking right, and people were sharing this on X and they're coming at me and they're like, dude, how the hell did you know that on that show that you did with Quite Frankly? And they're sharing it around. And I'm like, it was fucking obvious. So like, this is another one of those, it's fucking obvious. Like
Gotcha.
they've had the technology. They've expressed the intent to modify hurricanes in 2008. I've been telling people about this since 2013. It's just it will not sink in until people actually can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, hey dude, somebody screwed with this thing, it hit my house, I want to fucking sue. And the government's going to go, you can't sue the government.
Yeah.
We might have had something to do with it, but I mean, it was for national security purposes because China has hurricane gun, and we want a bigger hurricane gun than China.
Well,
I mean, that's the way it rolls. Dude.
Yeah, that's the way it does. And if an investigation has to take place, don't worry, they will investigate themselves, and everybody will be held to account. Jim Lee, climateviewer.com. You are a great guy to follow on Twitter, very active there. You do a lot of Twitter spaces. Of course, your YouTube is very active as well. And the compendium of a life's work is at climateviewer.com as well, including the article, very well-sourced article that we started tonight's show off about all of this, linking the DoD to hurricane manipulation and modification efforts right now that has a very short turnaround time. You talk about half a decade. So I hope everybody goes and checks them out. Anything else you want to plug, sir?
Yeah, you can find me at Climate Viewer on all the things. If you go to climateviewer.com, on the front page is one of my new websites I just launched, chemtrailfacts.com, making heads explode all over the internet. And if you're able, go to connect.climateviewer.com. Please donate between now and the end of September. I'm going to be building a new studio in my backyard so I can get out of this bedroom and make more videos more often.
Nice.
And I gotta admit something to you guys. I had planned on coming to the Jamboree.
I'm very upset.
And I'm just as upset. My daughter's even more upset because she thinks you're a hottie, dude. She's underage, but regardless, we were going to come up to New York and, job related stuff came up. So I'm not going to be able to make it. And I'm not going to get to see Anthony.
Listen, you guys got to come up. You have to at some point. It's a big studio over here. You got to bring the whole family up.
We're gonna do it, man.
First of all, your daughter has to be able to observe what the hell her father has built in here. Well, I mean, at least everything over here. This machine.
She's already said that when we come up there, she's gonna be on the show, and while we're sitting there live, she's gonna be on the couch and she's gonna draw you at the desk live during the show.
She draws.
She's freaking amazing, dude. My daughter's 100 times the artist that I ever was.
That's awesome. I've had a couple of it's very memorable when that stuff comes in every once in a while. There are people out there in the audience whose children, they draw, and in different styles too. Sometimes a little bit more anime style. Other times it's a little bit more classical, like true to form. I love the black and white sketches. So that would be really something else if we're, a caricature. I would love a caricature.
She does it all. Like, she's had a dolly phase in the last month where she's just like making people with broken noses and one eye's up here and one's down here and all kinds of shit. Oh. I mean, she oozes creativity.
Well, you won't need to go ventures too far away from Dolly if you're going to draw my face. So there you go. That's it.
Oh, don't lie to it. Everybody knows you're beautiful, man.
You come on, you always leave me feeling a little uncomfortable at the end. I really appreciate you every time that you show up, Jim.
I always try to save that part. What we have, it's undeniable, man. Just get over it. Get over it. Birds aren't real. And, our love cannot be denied.
I know birds are not real, but next rad radars are. I will talk to you soon, Jim. Have a good one.
Love you, brother.
All right, take care. See you later. There goes Jim Lee, climateviewer.com. So, it's a different kind of current event show. So that was that. What do you think? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read off your super chats. And then I want to get into, we're going to do a little bit of joy scrolling tonight and all that stuff as well. Remember, quite frankly, superchat.com, YouTube, Rumble Rants. I'm giving away an ounce of silver. I'm going to put all of your names into the name picker as I'm reading them off. Oh, and before we do that, we will not go on a break through intermission. I'm just going to thank a sponsor of the upcoming Jamboree right now, and that is Dulsa at dulsalife.com. This is straight from Dulsa, the sweetener that's smarter than sugar. I like that line. Why settle for empty calories when you can enjoy sweetness with benefits? Dulsa is the world's first functional botanical sweetener. That's right. 0 calories, diabetic friendly, keto friendly, and infused with prebiotic and probiotic support for gut health. Made from clean, natural ingredients like inulin, allulose, and plant extracts, Dulsa tastes just like sugar but works in harmony with your body. So swap out that sugar without sacrifice, I should say, because it tastes like it really just tastes like a carnival in a bag. Stir it, bake it, blend it. Dulsa does it all. And shop at dulsalife.com. Use promo code Frankly at checkout for exclusive savings. I got to keep them around. All my friends, all the friends that we have made in the lead up to this Jamboree, all I keep thinking about is how they would be wonderful additions to the stuff that people are cooking with during the upcoming holiday seasons. And go ahead and check them out, guys. Dulsa, DULSALIFE.com. You can also find them on the affiliates page on quitefrankly.tv. Love them. Absolutely. All right. Let's take a call. Actually, let's take some calls and let's go through your super chats. So the lines are open. 914-200-0269. Give me a buzz. First one up is Coyote. Coyote says they've been controlling the weather since Vietnam, allegedly. Oh, no. Not allegedly. It's true. Star Karma says, hi, Franklies. Well, hello to you, Star. It's great to have you out there. Star gets into the thing over here. Over there, Jay Britt says, greeting to Jim Lee from upstate South Carolina. And, oh, yeah, hi, Frank. Well, thank you, Jay. It's good to have you out there. Next one up is Revolution. I think we're going to meet Rev. We're going to meet Rev in September. Rev says, read in best Hannibal Lecter voice. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, and Francis, love the shirt. I guess, oh, and Francis, love the shirt. I can try. I don't know. I haven't done a Hannibal Lecter voice ever. He said, I can smell your. I'm not going to say that. That's our favorite line. If you know, you know. Anyway, that's from Rev. Get him in there. Let's see. Road Trip says Zelensky agreed to be Putin's organ grinder monkey as they bilk the EU out of more funding. Well, you know what? As long as it's the EU that's wasting their money and is putting themselves in the line of fire for a nuclear holocaust and not us. At this point, what are you going to do? You're going to convince people not to be suicidal. That's all I care about. Shotzi, thank you so much for your support tonight. Kobe Shumway says tossing motion. So I guess he's what kind of tossing? Anyway, Kobe Shumway's in the running tonight. Two Dogs Mike D. This is from last night, but I had to hastily read it as I was closing out. So I wanted to do it tonight too, and I'll put him for the running as well. He says, awesome show, y'all. I love seeing the videos. I just wish that my high school friends and I had the foresight to do this as well in the 90s. You mean recording everything that you did? Well, let me tell you. Oh, man, the things that I wish I could show you. The things I wish I can show you that I'll never be able. Oh, man. I've been sending clips to friends, not even in the band route. While all that stuff was going on with the band, there was a whole other separate group of friends that sometimes came to the shows and all that stuff if they were close enough to home. Called ourselves La Dolce Vita. That's right. We'd get together. We'd play briscola. And we'd have house parties and all that stuff, whatever the hell. and it was an absolute mess. I can't tell you how. There's this one. I have to get. There's this one fight that happened between my friend Frank and my other friend Vinny, who's now a infectious disease doctor. And we're at my friend Kevin's house, and these two got into a fight. I don't know what the hell started the fight. And I started filming just as it was starting to escalate. It's the gayest, funniest fight you'll ever see in your life. Two guys threatening each other constantly with no real danger of anybody throwing a punch. I have to edit it because there's some weird shit going on in the background. I can't. But other than that, I wish I could show you this stuff. The real reason why I'm going on a rant right now is that we were filming because at that time we were watching all the home videos from our favorite bands. All of our favorite metal bands had home videos that were just they became staples inside of those circles of friends and cultures, like the Pantera home videos, or Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica when they were filming or creating the Black Album. Everybody was putting out home videos, DVDs, VHS. You're getting them at flea markets, conventions, whatever the hell it was. And we wanted to do our own thing. So a lot of it is just cringy, cheap imitations, but looking back on it now, it's hilarious and also cringe. Plenty of gay. God, just ball sacks everywhere. Or he's whipping ball. It's just incredible. It's incredible. What the hell? It's like, so what the hell? Us harassing Anthony? Oh man, I have to edit down some of those clips of us harassing Anthony. Young, baby-faced Anthony, who couldn't get a leg up on anybody. He was just, oh man, what torture. But at the same time, we always invited him along, but it's something else. Don't worry. I have to get into editor mode one night, and I'll bring that up for you guys. So that's Two Dogs, Mike D. Let's do Two Dogs in the chat. I think we're going to meet Two Dogs as well. Okay, Joe Martinez is in on it. What's going on, Joe? Good to have Joe Martinez around. And Steve Ellis says Hurricane Erin remnants hit Ohio in August of 2006. Hurricane Erin? Hurricane Erin remnants hit Ohio in August of 2006. So there's another Hurricane Erin back then, what you're saying. I don't remember any of it. Steve Ellis. Okay, thank you so much. Let's go over to Rumble. And the lines are still open. 914-200-0269. We're going to do some joy scrolling in a little bit. Waltzy V says, question for Mr. Jim Lee. What changes were made to the fuel that has led to contrail back and forth that we see? Well, he's not here right now. But I don't know if I mean, Jim, if you're watching, you got to answer that again, because we did fuel and atmospheric conditions for chemtrail, contrail, interchangeable terms usage kind of stuff, and how it's the quality of the fuel is just bad all around, and that there's just so much air traffic and it's just bad all around, and that we only really see it under certain atmospheric conditions. That's what it was coming. That's what where the conversation left off last. So I don't know. Jim is usually hanging around in the chat room after a night that he was on the air, so you might be able to see him over there, Waltzy, in YouTube. Go check out to see if Jim is in the YouTube chat and ask him right there. Tommy Jekyll. Oh, well, and Waltzy V. Let me get him or her into the running for the thing. Oh, Mark Kernkey is hanging out. What is going on, Mark? Good to see you out there, my friend. Tommy Jekylls. Oh, Mark, did you see that Oklahoma City? The Oklahoma City bombing and FBI. There's been some disclosures lately. First person I thought about was Mark Kernkey. Should dig that up and see what the hell's new in there. Tommy Jekyll says, we tried to steer the hurricane out to sea, but whoops, now it's taking out Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina, etc. Yeah, Tommy. I mean, I think that's what most people will say is going to be the issue. And like what we were talking about after the Independence Day weekend storms down in Texas that claimed so many lives, and there was that one guy, the cloud seeder, who bared the brunt of so much venom. And what are you going to do? Like Jim said, the only real evidence he had that he didn't cause it was trust me, bro. But the more that this becomes public and to grander scale, what are you going to say? You know? It's one thing to say that, hey, listen, I'm in a business to help this one region of farmers get a little bit of rain for their crops and all that stuff, and we're just dusting and we're just seeding clouds for local produce and whatever the hell else. It's another thing when you start going public about your intent to be able to stop hurricanes, because anybody with at least a couple of brain cells to rub together will think of that and say, okay, well, if they know how to cut this thing to shreds and bring it down a notch or prevent it from making landfall, then building this thing up obviously has to also be known, and then they'll be able to find plenty of evidence and verification for that being a thing for decades now. Then they'll have all the other questions. Well, if they knew how to create storms and build it up for decades, then when did they really figure out how to kill the storms? And if they've had it for as long as they've known how to build them up, then why have we been made to suffer so much damage, so much lost life, so many, at this point, must be tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars over the course of decades of coastal damage out there in the Gulf and along the East Coast and anything else like that? It's going to start making people wonder a lot about what could have been and why it was allowed. And regardless of who is guilty of doing what, knowing that the tools are out there, every time a hurricane shows up, hurts somebody, there's going to be questions about, was it allowed? Was it planted? Why wasn't it stopped? All questions about motivation, just like affirmative action, by the way. That's what it is. Just like affirmative action. You don't want, you can't go too far because then the credibility for everything is screwed up. All right, Jesse, let's over there on Rumble. I mean, on quitefrankly.tv. Thank you, Jesse. Jesse, let's get her in. Jesse, thank you so much. Vesper says, attempting to tame Mother Nature will only raise her wrath. Oh, you're telling me. I think that is a given at this point. Frank could kill two birds with one stone if he believed that the birds existed. You're right. You're right. Super D sends over a cookie. Thank you, Super D. Jesse, Amethyst Cat. Jim is always a great guest, says Amethyst Cat. Happy Tuesday, Frank. Thank you. Reed7, thanks for getting such great guests. Hey, REDE7, still haven't heard from you. Email me about your prize from last week, or else it must be given away. Delona, thank you so much, Delona. You're in there. Tomcat, thank you. Good to see you. The Sentinel says, a little under the weather. Summer colds are the worst. On the mend, though. You know, I felt like that since Sunday. Sunday, I felt wrecked. Yesterday, I didn't feel too good. And I really think it had something to do with Saturday's workout. You know, you can overtrain sometimes. And I think when you overtrain, you know it. You know it. Because it's one thing to be sore, walking around like you have popsicle sticks for legs because your hamstrings are on fire from all those crab walks and shit like that. But it's another thing to feel like you are coming down with a cold. All right? It's like a cleansing crisis or something. There is your body is in complete disrepair, and it is a 5-alarm fire, and your body is wasting so much, expending so much energy to try to repair you all over the place. Thank God for that BPC 157. But yeah, Monday and Sunday, I did not feel well at all. But we got through. And I better get some sleep, or else I'm sure that there's a bigger health catastrophe coming. Let's see. Delona, thank you so much. Says, I need to get my class of 1992 video converted. Yes, you do. Everybody, convert your old VHS videos. You saw the condition of some of those VHSs last night. Thank God I got them saved. There wasn't that much time left on those videos. The old, the minis, all that stuff. Willie Fixes says, send me the silver. You got it, Willie. Let's get you in there. Let's go, Willie. Willie's in. Silly Boar says, get dressed. You're going. Indeed, Silly Boar. You're all going. All right. So now we're going to get around to some other fun stuff. Because I don't need to, I've got plenty of stuff to do and I don't want to waste time. We got 8:25. Perfect. Let's do some joy scrolling, shall we? Oh, hold on. Running on Empty says, hey, Frank, good evening. Good to see you out there running on Empty. Bullish Brown is back with us. It's good to see them out there, too. Jim is the man, he says. Yes, he is. Okay, are you guys ready? Now, these are, and I'll save those names just right there. Perfect. And then we will do the drawing at the end of the show. So, by all means, you can send in some more super chats and say whatever the hell you want and get into the running for a SpaceX patch and a piece of silver coming your way immediately. Here we go. First one up. Let me get into it. All right, so how was I going to do this? I forgot. Yes. That's right. So I got a few of these sent to me by people I trust. Most of them, they said, don't watch them. Just get the reaction first and foremost. But I see the titles, so I get kind of guess what's going on. This first one is called Don't Worry. Oh, this is Nick Shirley. Got two from Nick Shirley. And Nick Shirley, he got in touch with me, said he has moved. Apparently, he has now permanently moved to New York, at least permanent for now, because he wants to get close to all the action he's always covering. But I think that Nick might actually be here for the Jamboree. And Tracy Beans might come too. So a couple of late additions there as far as the people you can meet and greet. That's going to be, I hope Nick shows up. That'd be wonderful to see him walking around and chilling and eating some chicken hearts. All right, first one up. This is Nick Shirley in D.C.
Looks like right here they're arresting a homeless man. What's going on right here?
This man is being arrested.
For what he do?
We're hearing that he was distributing narcotics.
Okay, so they're getting a drug deal off the street.
I don't want to characterize them.
Oh, he was dealing narcotics, but I don't want to characterize him. What a mush. This is why things are bad. Frumpy old white lib. Ugh. Dealing narcotics, but I don't want to characterize him. Good Lord. Oh, no.
Looks like right here they're arresting a... Okay, so they're getting a drug deal off the street.
I don't want to characterize them. I don't know.
All right, they're arresting this guy right here. They say, that guy just said he was arrested for narcotics, so he's either a homeless man or a drug dealer here on the street. There you have in the bag whatever he was selling. They put it in the bag. So he was
cleaning up DC out there.
Indeed selling drugs. Right now we have the FBI, the police, Secret Service. We got about 8 agents out here right now. And there is the bag right there with all the money and the drug that he was selling on the streets.
Don't characterize him though.
After he had been arrested, a protester showed up and went absolutely crazy on law enforcement.
Cowards! 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 Stay away from homeless people! You fascist quads!
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being so fucking crazy that you're showing up at the scene of a vagrant drug dealer getting arrested, getting taken off the streets, and you take out your bullhorn and you start screaming like Sam Kinison, and you're calling people fascist pigs for taking a vagrant off the streets. You're screaming into a bullhorn. I mean, I don't know how this is not taken. What? There's no noise ordinances. Why wasn't she arrested? You want to talk about fascism? There she is, in the most disruptive way possible, exercising her freedom of speech, and she's calling everybody around them fascists. It's just incredible how insane they are.
This lady just arrived and she
Sounds like a Cradle of Filth song.
screaming in the megaphone. I wonder if she knows that they just arrested a drug dealer off the streets of Washington, D.C. Wow, you have wow, you got a loud voice. Wow, she just came right in here. This lady is an angry woman.
Why isn't she being arrested?
Stay away from homeless people, you fascist bum!
You fascist bums! Stay away from homeless people, you bums! She's gotta be a comedian. She must be a comedian. Anyway, that was a little bit of Nick Shirley. I think we have another one from Nick Shirley over here. Here we go.
And what do you guys think about the feds coming here into Washington, D.C.?
I love it. I love it. I wish it was more.
And how dangerous did Washington, D.C. become in these past few years?
It doesn't compare to the 80s. D.C. was the murder capital of the United States. We averaged 13 bodies a day.
And do you think Donald Trump's wrong for wanting to come in here and clean up the city?
No. No, I do not.
And why do you think there's so many people are getting upset with him coming in and wanting to take control of the city as far as getting rid of the
Because
crime?
they're not doing enough. They need to take control and get this city. But this is the nation's capital. You got tourists scared to come here.
And were the police enforcing the laws?
But it's not enough of them. They're not doing enough.
What do you think about the federal government coming in here and trying to stop some crime?
Oh, here we go.
It's a bad idea.
Of course it is. Tell us why, liberal white woman.
I think it's a bad idea.
Because we need them to actually be stopping crime, not being sent against the homeless.
Okay, and so do you think they're overstepping their boundaries here in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I mean, it's wrong on all sorts of levels. It's just dumb.
Yeah, you are dumb. You are. You're a very dumb person. Oh my gosh. I just don't know anymore. I had to, there was one thing I was going to bring up and I forgot it, but it doesn't matter. I don't need the video. There's another video that started going around. I said, I have the perfect addition to this theory. The Mattress Firm theory that they were a front for something else. Now, I had to put this out there real quick. When we were down, it was on Saturday afternoon, we brought Aurora to Mattress Firm because Aurora is now so long. These giant legs are hanging out of her like little bed. It's not a crib, but it's you can continue converting it and all that. And she's just so big. She's been telling Lauren every night, "Mom, I can feel my feet are poking through the other side." We're like, we know. Don't worry. So Lauren got the bed frame. She found a bed frame for like $100, but we needed a twin bed. So all right, well, this is something you can't really surprise somebody with. You got to go out there and sleep. You got to lay down on whatever the hell you're going to be sleeping on. So we brought her to Mattress Firm, and she's trying things out. Pick something out. She's really excited about it. So while I'm sitting down, Lauren and Aurora are just walking around and laying on all the other mattresses. I'm sitting down and I'm financing this thing. It's not that much. It's like $1,300, but still, I was just like, please, if you got financing, let's just do it for $45 a month. But one last thing. That's another thing I need. But I'm sitting there and the guy, his name is Daniel, and we're sitting there at his desk on a Saturday afternoon in a Mattress Firm. And I said, you know the theories about this place, don't you? He goes, what's that? I said, that Mattress Firm is a front for some other kind of nefarious dealings, because there's just nobody has any kind of an explanation as to why on any given block you could have 2 or 3 mattress firms. It makes no sense that there would be Mattress Firm 2 to a block, 1 across the street from each other, that they're clustered like this. He goes, oh, I can tell you why. I said, okay, let's do this. So he told me, and it's pretty Occam's razor, to be honest, that the guy who owned Mattress Firm, he was having a hard time breaking into the market up here in the Northeast. Sleepies dominated everything. There's Sleepies all over the place. You don't see Sleepies around too much now, do you? Because he bought them all. First thing he did was he showed up right outside of Sleepies with a Mattress Firm, planted himself right there. And then he eventually strong-armed Sleepies, and he rattled off like 4 other brands, 4 other companies that were distributing mattresses. All of them. Bought them all. Cornered the market. There is only Mattress Firm. There is no Sleepies. There's only Zool. And that's exactly what's going on here. He rattled off all these names of brands that were just gobbled up. And that is why there were so many. That's why there was 3 Mattress Firm stores on, any one block in some places that people are like, this is ridiculous. Why are there so many Mattress Firms? Some of these places had 50, 60-year leases, but many of those stores had smaller leases now. And what's going on is many of those duplicate and triplicate stores are being closed because they're no longer needed. They were the vestiges of an insane war between mattress companies, okay? An insane mattress war, okay? That's what was going on. So now Mattress Firm is firm in their position, and that's why there's so many. So you're going to see a lot less as they thin it out, because you don't need to have so many in either block. But I also learned something else. That the founder of Mattress Firm, who died at like age 92 or something a few years ago, none of his children or grandchildren wanted to run the company. So he sold all of his interests. That included all of the property they owned, everything, for somewhere around a cool $2.2 billion worth of assets, everything. And I guess the whole family just opted for their inheritance. And I was like, damn, not one grandchild wanted to run the Mattress Firm for just one more generation? That's just ridiculous. $2 billion is not really a lot of money. It's really not. Not when you're splitting it among so many people. Why the hell wouldn't you just give? I would have been like, I'll run it. I'll be CEO for a few years. Start one of those wall of fames. My grandfather started this company, and one day, son, it'll be yours. And fuck all your cousins. They're lazy bastards. I guess the big thing there is that if you were that one rogue grandchild, you would have to find a way to buy all of the shares and all of the interest that your family members have. You'd have to buy everybody out. You don't have that kind of money. That's sad. It's still sad to me if you ask me. But you know what? Maybe they took that money and they'll turn it into something good. Like, starting a green dildo factory. Going into business with the WNBA. All right, let's keep going, shall we? Let's keep going. Somebody sent this to me. Frank, this is a reel about praying.
Thank you, Lord, for I have never sinned. Amen.
God, I'm so retarded. I'm sorry.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, God, I'm sorry. I'm evil and retarded. That's how I pray most nights too. I'm sorry. I'm evil and retarded. Please help me. Help me, God. Forgive me. I'm evil and retarded. Let's see. I've been coming across a lot of these lately. These hoarding cleanup videos. Take a look at this. it's fascinating. It really is. But I got to tell you something. It doesn't matter how good this is all cleaned. If you don't bring an exorcist into this house afterwards, there's going to be nothing good that ever comes of living in this property. This is the result of such horrible and horrifying spiritual malady. Houses like this are incredibly scary to me. It's like, wow, what a mess. No. That's not what we're looking at right now. What the hell? What the hell is, what is that? Are those 4 Loco cans? What they had one room just to throw this is what, there's something going on here. This is the room for the cans. Just throw it in there. Like, how did that start? It took one can. There was one day when the first can was thrown in there, and that became the can room. What is happening? Did those cans, they blocked the sunlight coming from the windows. Oh my gosh. I wonder what books were on that shelf. Anybody else want to know what books were on that shelf? I mean, what was the function of the bathroom? That's the laundry room. It's almost done. I have to see the end of this. There was still magnets on the refrigerator. Like, that's what I don't understand. What was that whole living arrangement? I want the stories behind it. I want to know about what happened to the people afterwards. If you have any jobs like that, anybody out there who does that for a living, if you get called in for these really, really severe cases of hoarding or anything else like that, please let me know. If you are a hoarder, if you live in that kind of a condition, I really hope you call in one night. Pick a name. I have some questions. I might just ask you to walk through the room so I can hear you sloshing through the garbage. And I want to know why. It's really no judgment. Have I judged already? I mean, it's morbidly fascinating. I don't understand it. But I want to know where it happened, like what's going on. I would really love to get a call from somebody who's living like that right now. You can pick a completely different identity. I don't know when we can make that call happen, but somebody's got to call in about that. All right, so there we have this. All right, there's another one up over here. Okay, so this was sent to me on Twitter over the weekend, and I I think I know what we're going to get from this, but it's an interesting matchup. What is this? Jubilee, surrender. It's undeniable that reparations are just and necessary. So it seems like this woman, and based on her look, you can tell what she's all about. We're going to just see, but she's sitting across from, she's a black Marxist looking one. She's got the problem glasses and everything. The costume is on point, and she's sitting across from a young black man. And I think, from what I have gathered here, they are having a debate about reparations and all that stuff. So we're going to watch it because I was sent 2 videos, and I was told, trust me, you're going to want to see this. So let's watch it. This is the hilarious thing about this. So you know everything about this woman, and you don't even need to know anything about her. You know everything about her. And so, okay, so the FBI, that doesn't mean anything, but of course, the whole reason for her existing is to make sure that the system that from, you know, everything she teaches and has been taught is there to keep her down. She still wants to reform. See, everybody's nuts. You want to reform the system from the inside. You want to make it work for you. So you want, and then what? Then one day you will trust the system. Do you trust the FBI when they come out on some days and they say that the greatest threat to the country is climate change? Or the next day, the greatest threat to the country is white nationalism or Christian nationalism based on who's, I mean, it's incredible. So don't like statistics. They lie all the time. Okay, well, then that's why I will not trust your statistics. But we can talk about human nature, and human nature is something you're not going to be able to deny. I really like this matchup here. She already lost, by the way, because she's frazzled. There's the face. There's the condescending bitch. There you go. That's what it all. There's no argument. There's just costumes, bad bitch mentality, and nothing but just sour shit. That's all you can say. You lost.
You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion.
Wow. Say she's going back to the mammy programming. That's the other thing here. That's the mammy programming from, you know, you want to talk about slavery, the plantation with the men. And I don't know about what this is. Every once in a while they do these kind of like timed debates, round robin debates, but I love this so far. It's so refreshing. She's filled an obsolete she's filled up on like this obsolete script for a play that no one cares about anymore. And here's why I'm spending, this is probably the most I've spent on shit like this in a long time, and I'm fine with that, because all the other clips that you see, you want to talk about crime statistics. How many times you want to talk about crime statistics and how bad it is along racial lines? It's just the way it is. Any black American out there who's honest with themselves knows, and they know how bad that they know that's a stigma that they got to carry around with them. They have to contend with. I mean, this is something that we know. Everybody knows that. It's uncomfortable, but it's reality. So for that reason, I'm not going to be watching videos like this every night, because most of these videos are race bait. It's rage bait that is all rooted in race. Don't need to do that all night, all long. But this exactly right here, this is what we needed more than anything, especially black men dismissing sour black female Marxist agitators and putting them in their place respectfully. Because they just need to be dismissed and walked away from. That's the real issue here. That's the only way that we will ever have true societal victory that really that draws us toward any kind of peace and prosperity again. There's other things there too, as far as legal and illegal immigration that needs to be fixed. But otherwise, it's lose-lose. The world that this girl right here operates in, we've talked about this in the past, is a lose-lose world. It exists to serve a victim-oppressor dynamic in which she is a privileged victim. And the oppressor, who is always wrong, is the white man and his government that needs to be taken over and co-opted in some way, not done away with. We don't want that government to go away. There's trillions of dollars to be made here. Trillions of dollars. If we can just dip our straw into it. Like we're Daniel Plainview. Dip our straw into that trillions of dollars. We don't want it to go away. We don't, because that would mean that we'd be independent. We all would be independent. It's just incredible. So that's the lose-lose. Yeah, you might get privilege. You might attain privilege inside of this victim oppressor kind of mindset worldview. You might attain that privilege, but it is privilege that is, in every stretch of the word, it is still a dependent state. It's a slave state. So you're choosing a little bit more of a privileged form of slavery. And for the oppressor, the perceived oppressor, they are also slaves, but they don't get the privilege to be able to say racist things and have everybody clap and say, "Well, that was deserved." It's a horrible world. It's really a terrible world. It's lose-lose. Even those who stand to win from the that arrangement are losers, perpetual losers, because they're just trapped in it, and they end up becoming wards of the state that they've been taught from the beginning hates them to their very core. But again, all right, so there's another one here that I was sent. Here you go. This one's a little bit longer, but we won't be watching the whole thing. Take a look at, where did this come from? Where did the accent come from all of a sudden? That's where you pivot to, you empty, vapid twat. That's where you pivot to? Harriet Tubman's name and fame? What are you going to do, baby? You're dropping a baby on us now? She's useless. Useless, talentless, and you know what? It's great. This is great. I hope more shit like this happens because the script is flat. It's flat. You know how we keep reminding ourselves every once in a while how the American dollar is backed by nothing but faith? We have to just keep reminding ourselves, oh no, we have to have the faith that it's worth something. But it's really just the faith that backs it. Well, that is exactly what is represented here on race narrative level. This woman is wearing her costume. She's wearing her costume. She's got her bad bitch attitude, fine-tuned, ready to go. But Halloween was last week, and now it just doesn't work anymore. When you dress up like Batman or the Joker or something like that on Halloween, it's appropriate. Everybody gets behind it. When you're still wearing the costume on Thanksgiving, everybody's like, okay, all right. Okay, it's over now. All right? There's not even a counter to anything that these men are saying. And while she was talking, I had to go grab Booker T. Washington. I had to go grab Booker T. There is another class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. Very famous quote from a very accomplished man. And it's just one of those things here. How dare they want to lose. Nobody wants to lose this. If black Americans lose their grievances, this is it. I mean, she actually reverts to telling these young men to act as if she's their mama. What? Why? Because first of all, let's not forget this. First of all, this is all a major offshoot of feminism, for one. Major offshoot. You're going to see black women, always going to see black women, probably gay or virulent LGBT ally types at the tip of the spear of these operations. BLM was The Patrice Cullors girl, classically trained Marxist lesbian, anti-family. It's all in their white papers and all that stuff. And that is it. That's the tip of the spear, because black men need to be obedient, weak, and dependent. And if they're going to be in the picture at all, if they're going to try to act up over here, then they're going to have to leave. That's been part of the program for a while. So if this charade ends, and I hope that we're getting close, because what's really oppressing people, if there's oppression at all, again, it's government. So why would she advocate for government to get bigger? Why would she want that to? Ever? Because big government serves single women the most. That's number one, first of all. And if she actually cared about non-white Americans to be independent again, then she would want to see them not be dependent on the government that hates them. And from there, it would be, what would it be? It would be more independent black Americans. They wouldn't want to segregate from the rest of society. If they wanted to, it would be fine, but that would not be possible either. Because if you're independent and you're out there hustling, you want to be friends with as many people as possible so you can be as successful as possible. You know, the only people who choose to limit their reach and their customer base is anybody who's subsidized. Look at all the television shows getting canceled. All the media organizations that were subsidized through USAID and all that other shit. The market, the marketplace, the rules of the marketplace did not apply to them. You know, you can't lead with a product like that and think to be around unless you're subsidized by someone. So nobody who is spouting the bullshit that this woman is, that's just not working on these guys, it's so refreshing to see. They can't have real independence because it would also eventually solve racial tension by making better relationships economically advantageous to people. So that was really nice, those two videos. I don't know what the rest of the round robin debate was about, but I enjoyed watching it, and I just thank you guys and gals so much for being here tonight. A wonderful evening on a Tuesday. Let's see who's out there. Irrational X says, I bought Dulce with the last promo code and gave it to my pre-diabetic mom when I visited Montana last week. I will buy another bag for the fiance in my home with a baby boy on the way due in December. Good show, Frank. Wow. Congratulations to you, man. That must be so exciting. Irrational X. Jay Win, that's so exciting to have a baby showing up in December. Talk about a Christmas gift. Jay Winnard says, I just tuned in and heard OKC bombing FBI before I can get situated. What's going on? I saw some headlines before. I set them aside. I saw something about FBI, OKC. It was within the last 48 hours too. So I don't know what's going on just yet, but I thought about the headline it had popped up in front of me when I saw Mark Kernkey in the chat room. All right, let's see. Anybody in Rumble Rants that we can say hello to? No, we're all good with Rumble Rants, and we're all good. Okay, now let's see who wins our patch and a silver round. Here we go. And the name is Tommy Jekyll. Tommy Jekyll on Rumble, I believe, has just won silver. And we're going to have more awesome stuff for you. As I want to just give a lot more stuff away and do raffles. It's fun. It's exciting. It helps the show in ways that you have no clue. But Tommy Jekyll, get in touch with me. Your thing awaits. Your everything awaits. And Stowstube, always a great listen when Jim Lee is on. Thank you, Frank. Well, thank you, Stowstube. I hope that he just came in right now after the end of the drawing. But what I have for you right now as we go into Extra Innings is a snippet that I posted on the Quite Frankly official Instagram, which has been popping off lately. It's been wonderful. We have introduced ourselves over the last few weeks alone to 2,000 new people who have become subscribers, and I just can't wait to see how all this momentum really starts shaking out over the course of the next 6 to 8 months. I'm really excited about it. But a snippet of Extra Innings last night, Another reason why, when the show ends here, come over to pilled.net or quitefrankly.tv, wherever Pilled is embedded, get over there. There's no paywall, there's nothing. It's just a couple of extra minutes of great stuff, exclusives, even if it's just reading the general chat. Last night, Keith really had it out. We had a really wonderful time listening to him just kind of jam out on the guitar, and then we talked music a little bit more, and when all the lights closed around us, we left, and that's what we have here. A little bit of a snippet for you, and I will see you on the other side. Extra Innings begins after the end credits. Fuck. Yes.
Thanks, fuckhead.
Yeah, you got it, sausage fingers. I'll see you later.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight here on the 19th of August. We're going to have a great night tomorrow night. Jay Gulanello's in. We're going to talk to a wonderful people from Verso. And also, I have so many other great topics to bring up. It's going to be fantastic. Really is. Thank you to our super chatter, Stowstube, Irrational X, Jay Winard, Running on Empty, Bullish Brown, Joe Martinez, Steve, Ellis, Coyote, Star Karma, so many more. Thank you for blessing me tonight and every night, and I'll see you soon. Get to Extra Innings. I just shared the links. Quick, go. See you right there.
For you.